I wanted to point out just a few things about Chapter 3 in your textbook. So I'm going to go to your e-textbook now for Chapter 3. And I can't really improve on the videos and all of the other learning activities that are in this chapter. So I'm just going to skip right over to the critical and creative thinking questions. And I'd like to focus on number 5 for this video. It says water is absorbed from the small intestine and colon by osmosis. What happens to the body's water balance if a large number of small unabsorbed molecules end up in the colon? So let's go here to section 3.3. And again, I just can't tell you how great some of the things are that go along with your textbook. This video is really great, so I encourage you to look at that. And there's lots of information here. I'm just going to scroll down and get to this nutrition insight just to point out one thing. Your textbook did tell you that your small intestine is about 20 feet long, but what it doesn't tell you is that its surface area is really large. So all these folds that are in your small intestine, and then the villi and the microvilli that are on top of the villi, give you a very, very large surface area. And it's about the size of a tennis court. So not only do you have about a 20-foot tube all wrapped up inside you, you also have a huge surface area for absorption of your digested food. So let's see what happens now when you have a problem with an undigested food. So for example, if somebody has lactose intolerance, and lactose is a double sugar, it's not going to end up crossing into the bloodstream and being absorbed. It'll never become a single sugar. So if you have lactose intolerance, you don't have the enzyme lactase, you're going to have a lot of small particles that are going to end up in your colon. So let's go right down to this next diagram, which shows osmosis. So typically in your small intestine and colon, if you have a small amount of particles inside the intestinal lumen and a large amount on the inside of the cell, then water is going to flow from the intestinal lumen into the cell. So you're going to get some water absorption by osmosis. So now, in the case that we're talking about now, you're going to have a lot of lactose in your small intestine or your colon. There's going to be more blue little particles here. So we would see more blue dots here. That would represent our lactose. And then that would mean the concentration of lactose is high inside of the lumen of the intestine, and the water is going to flow the other way. So you're going to have a lot of water inside of your intestine, and that's going to happen when you have lactose intolerance, and this is going to cause diarrhea because of all the fluid that's inside of your small intestine and large intestine. This also happens with a molecule called sorbitol. Sorbitol is found in things like candies and gums that are for diabetics. And you might end up seeing that people that take in too much of those kinds of candies might end up with diarrhea. So I think that's all I wanted to show you about this chapter. Go ahead and listen to these illustrations and other types of diagrams because they're all very, very helpful. And I think they'll really help you study for your test.